So the book of Revelation has 404 verses. And book of Daniel, the other end times book that features the Antichrist, is 357. And my auto sum wasn't working here. I've already screwed it up doing something else. So 357 plus 404. The answer is 761. And that's my birthday, July 6, 1961. And my first address when I was born was 404 Lime Street. I had a 357 Magnum stolen before my second marriage. And everything about me and numbers my entire life. God's got a book of numbers. He's numbered the very hairs of our heads. That's a Bible verse that that the very hairs of your head are numbered. Numbers are they have meaning. They are a language unto the Lord to us. But God is a God of math, along with being truth. He's very finite. It's very perfect. It's very mathematical. So in their world, they have numerology where they take three-digit numbers, condense it down to one number, and it tells a story. And so I don't do numerology. I used to do astrology, numerology, all of it. And the Lord shaved all of that off my life. But as he showed me the truth in his word, he has not shaved off me with numbers. So I still take to it. And I see it. I notice things just keep growing and evolving. So, because we look at everything about these end times and we're just fascinated with how they go about doing things. And one thing I wanted to look at and show you is that the next eclipses are also 177 days apart. So this is like a thing with eclipses that they are 177 days apart. If you go to next year's eclipses, there's finally our Donnie Darko Ring of Fire eclipse on the Donnie Darko date of October 2nd. It's 177 days from April 8th. So if we go to April 8th of next year, and we run that to next year's October 2nd, we're going to see it's another 177 days. Now, I'm not going to get into all that right now. We know that the two lunar eclipses were 176 days apart in 2022 as a coincidence, because they don't follow these patterns. And that's 88 in both directions. And this is 88.5 in both directions at a midpoint. So what is the midpoint? We were to add 88 days. So it's July 5th. Okay. But it's July 6th plus 88 days. So July 5th and 6th, there's no real midpoint day because it's an odd number. So it's, again, it was just like what we had realized with the 88 days and 89 days moving forward. All right, so this is another thing I want to show you before we get into a small prep, is that next year's full moon in March is the 25th. Well, we just had a full moon on October 28th, and those two transfer portal to each other. So if we go through the transfer portal of time, which was 2022, January 10th, you could do these each year at Janus Tenet or January 10th. So what do we want to... If we just set it, it won't work for the leap year. But anyway, let's just set it for... Let me set it and get the math right for you, so don't waste your time. So if you subtract 805, it takes you to October 28th, 2019. When you add 805, it takes you to March 25th, 2024. And we know that that's the Gateway Arch date. The Gateway Arch. Bill Gates' birthday is October 28th. The Gateway Arch began on October 28th. So we have another full moon. It's going to be in Libra on March 25th. And that's all about being weighed in the balances, isn't it? Because there's a Bible verse about you have been weighed in the balances and are found wanting. Daniel, I think Daniel 6, but I'm not sure. Daniel 5:27. Okay. 5:27 is May 27th, isn't it? Tekel, thou art weighed in the balances and art found wanting. It's interesting. So that's another gateway arch on the other side of the transfer portal. Full moon, and it is a lunar eclipse. Did I leave that part out, that it's a lunar eclipse? It's penumbral lunar. So this one's coming before the solar. They either come before or after solars. This is very interesting stuff. Nothing has happened so far today, obviously. He's got a rally in Vegas. Another thing I want to show you that's interesting. Let me get that set up. The March 18th date that we've been looking, remember my May Day friend is 14201 days from Trump. And she will be 14201 days on that 318, which was all over that TV show Touched. The number 318, 318, 318. We've shown you that many times. If you look at the trailer of the TV show Touched, it's all about 318, 318. This number, this kid, he was a seer. He was a math kid. It's 333 days from this past total solar eclipse of 420. And it's that date is going back the other way. It's 33 days from Valentine's Day. So you're getting 33 and 333. All landing on that March 18th date. 33 and 333. 333. And we know of the hearts that are all over I Pet Goat. Now, in James Bond, he does go through the dragon. And it might be why they took down I Pet Goat, as if to say, we fooled you. There's nothing really there on I Pet Goat as it pertains to dates. We always still have to be aware of a Capricorn moon for his rising day and him going down with a Sagittarian moon. If we were to look at the moons, guess we might as well do that. March 18th. It is in Cancer, which is the exact opposite of Capricorn. And it's Gemini. Now, Trump went down. It's another thing I want to look at. Trump, when he was born, not when he went down, when he was born, the moon was full on a total lunar eclipse in Sagittarius. That alone could be why he is the archer or why he has a bow. Like he's had the bow his whole life. So when it says he had a bow and a crown was given to him, that would just be his death. But the fact that he has a bow could be that he has a Sagittarian moon. He is the moon child. He's the moon baby. And his moon sign is in Sagittarius. He is what we used to call in astrology talk a full moon baby, which means they are full moonish, loud, full of energy. You know how they say if you're at school or in emergency rooms, police on full moons, it's like, oh, the police radio is constantly going. The emergency room is full. Schools are nuts. Kids are crazy. That kind of thing. Well, Trump's a full moon baby, isn't he? And he's his full moon is in the sign of Sagittarius, which is a fire sign in their world, in their pagan satanic world. And this is all God's world also. We're just not supposed to be delving into astrology for our lives. But God did say, I create evil, I create darkness, I the Lord do all these things. He's ordained this whole earth. He just has Satan running this evil stuff. So anyway, that's a very interesting date, this March 18th. But I lost my train of thought. Let me get back to it. So Trump born Gemini sun, Sagittarian moon. Well, what's coming up is Sagittarian sun, Gemini moon. And that full moon is on the Bible verse of the abomination of desolation. It's on 9/27 or Daniel 9/27. It's November 27th. Straight out of, because November was once the 9th month. So it's definitely a date to keep our right eye on. So is 11/4, dying on 11/5, rising on 11/7. He will be at Gaylord Palms where I got engaged. In December of 2006. It was on a Saturday. I just can't remember. I want to say it was the 18th. If we run it to when he's there on 11/4, it was the 18th or the 11th. It was on a Saturday. December 18th is on a Monday, so it's December 16th. Yeah. I'm almost absolutely positive that was the date. 888 in the minutes. 881 weeks. Anyway, when you run that to 11.7, it's very interesting. This is very interesting stuff. But let's keep going. The moon is exactly the opposite the sun and the moon are when he was born. In other words, he would be born again. Get it? November 27th, full moon. When he's at Gaylord Palms, it is a Leo moon. November 7th or 11/7, the rising day. That is a till Tuesday. It is a Virgo moon. Let's go ahead and get into the prep. It's very short. 666 portal to November 5th. We have to remember that. Golly, so we just got through talking about Trump being at the Gaylord Palms. And we were just talking about our transfer portal of time. So is any of these set up for transfer portal? Yeah. So the transfer portal of time on January 10th, which the Lord did help us discover, does land on 11/7, the Bible verse. That's a big deal. Because 9/11 was about a Bible verse, and it was really about this Bible verse, 11/7. The transfer portal is back to March 15th, 2020. Another date we have to look at is December 1st. That is the first day that COVID began, and we know that this whole COVID-19 was really about the book of Revelation being open. It was a ritual for the deadly wound. Corona means crown. It's about the Antichrist receiving his crown. It did begin on December 1st, the first COVID-19 patient. So you go to this CDC museum COVID-19 timeline. They give you that. So CDC, World Health Organization timeline. It's one of them that gives you December 1st. Well, maybe it's here, Wikipedia. Symptoms of the index case or patient 0 began on December 1st. The man had not been to whatever that's called, the Wuhan Hanan Seafood Wholesale Market. His family was unaffected, and no epidemiological link was found between him and the laboratory confirmed cases of January 2nd. But he was patient 0 on December 1st. We have to keep an eye on that, don't we? Keep an eye on that December 1st date. It is written as 12/1, which is 121 Antichrist. So there's the market. Opening date was June 19th, 2002. So if we go to June 19th, 2002, which that's an interesting date. And let's run it to 9/11, 2001. It's 281 days. Okay. Just curious. 404 in the minutes. 40 weeks in a day. 9 months, 8 days. The 98th verse is the white horse verse. All right, I was just curious. So if we start running that date, of when that Wuhan place was opened, seven, 8, 8, 6 is coming up. What day would that happen to be? Ooh, 121 Antichrist. January 21st. That's a big deal. That the time that the Wuhan place opened. Let's go back and look at our calendar for what's going on January 24th. I mean, January 21st. Moon is in Gemini. Rising is Cancer. There's a full moon in Leo on the 25th. He could get hit on 121. He could die on January 23rd and then rise on January 25th. No doubt about it. So definitely interesting things to look. The date of the full moon, it is 7890, but it is 176. 76 for the atom. In Strong's Concordance, atom in the New Testament is 76. Again, my birthday. Two 176 7890. Trump's age gets very interesting. I know the one that was very interesting is when he's 28280. That's November 17th of this year. Okay. Anyway, let's run him to we'll run him to this January 25th date since we're on it right now. He's got the 83 murder code all up in these days. He's 77 years, 7 months, and 11 days on the rising day. That's how big that is right there. He's 77 years, 7 months, and 11 days. You have 711 coded right there. That's fused with 777. You also have 311, 931 months and 11 days. So you have 311 code. Remember March 11th? So the Wuhan place, the Wuhan or the Wuhan Henan seafood wholesale market is a major tell. It's a major tell. It's given that name for a reason. You have to know what COVID-19 was all about to even start really looking at this kind of stuff. You have to know that it was the ritual. So you look at the name, the whole name of the whole thing. Let's just look at page 1. New York, 17, 17, 17 comes up. Not a lot that I felt like at least looking at. Nothing grabbed my eye as I went down that anyway. Closed on January 1st, 2020. Everything about everything is very significant. If we look at when it closed, I got rid of all those markers, so let's do it again. June 19th, 2002, January 1st, 2020. It stayed open for that 176 code along with 13 code. 17 years, 6 months, 13 days. 1537 in the hours, which is big. 153720 in the hours. 153,720 in the hours. You start running the date of its closing. We're at 1397 right now. We're going to be at a perfect 1400. Here very soon, of course. So on the 5th, which would be his death day, if he gets hit at the Gaylord Palms, if you include both dates when he's at the Gaylord Palms, there's your Book of Revelation 404. But if you don't include both dates, then factor in the day he would be pronounced dead. Which would be Sunday, November 5th, and then he would rise on the till Tuesday, November 7th, November 8th, which is 88. There's your Wednesday. The calamity would absolutely begin on the earth, World War III. Electricity off for good until he comes back, seemingly have risen from the dead to save the earth. If we run that date through the April 8th of when it shut down, and really, it's got 1193, 337. But you know what I want to do? I want to go back to the December 1st date, patient 0, to our eclipse, 1224. I'll be a monkey's butt. We've talked about the 1224 before, haven't we? By the way, this December 24th is 2 days before full moon. Would love it if he went down with everybody with their pagan tree in their house. All right, we got to get through the prep. But anyway, that is 666 days through the transfer portal of time. Lands on November 7th, 2023. That's a big deal. Now, through the transfer portal, if we were to do 888, which we might as well do, June 16th, he would go down. Well, he's 886 on his birthday. That means he would go down at his birthday party. 886. If nothing else, it tells you the significance of that date, that transfer portal date. Because remember, when you went back, I think it was 465 days, it landed on when Trump said he had the illness. which was on October 2nd, which is why that Ring of Fire eclipse on October 2nd is the biggest deal you've ever seen in your life. And it'll be 888 days from June 16th, when the anniversary of when he descended 9 years earlier. Now, if we run this all the way to our October 2nd date, wow. 9996 days. It connects to April 20th, 2019. That is fascinating that April 20th is the connecting date to October 2nd, because we just had a solar eclipse. So the fact that those two eclipse dates are transfer portal matches. This past year's, or this year's April 20th eclipse does match to, it does portal over to October 2nd, 2024's. So how many days would that be? Let me figure it out. Yeah, because of the leap year, it's 266 and 267 in both directions. It alters the date if you put it on 2024. But when you put it on our actual transfer portal date of 2022, it is like these direct connections. So that's pretty wild. But that was when we discovered the transfer portal. That's when we knew it was real. Because when Trump said it was 465 days, October 2nd, 2020, that's when Trump said he had the illness. And you run it forward, it hits on this year's total solar eclipse. So he said he had corona, and then here comes a corona. It transfer portaled over to a corona. Corona is the outer ring of a total solar eclipse. Corona is the outer ring of a total solar eclipse. During a total solar eclipse, the sun's corona appears as white glowing ring around the black disk of the moon. Corona on Ring of Fire eclipse. So the corona itself is called the Ring of Fire on the Ring of Fire eclipse. So there's coronas on both. Well, that's what Heliofont was all about, eclipses. If we go and look at the October 2nd solar eclipse, it is in Libra at 1449. It does not give us a lunar. So the lunar is before it. It is in Pisces on September 17th. Okay. So always an eclipse before or after a solar eclipse. There's always a lunar eclipse before or after. 14 days-ish. All right, now we can get into the October 22nd. Here we go. So 4269 on Monday, 10/23. What that day's passed? I did this prep a long time ago. Layer cake, 888 weeks to no time to die. So layer cake is when Daniel Craig gets shot and killed. And when you run that to No Time to Die, when he says, I have no time to die, there's your 7177 code. It's 17 years, 7 days. It is 6216. I don't know what just happened. It's like my computer's playing tricks with me. But yeah, there's your 6216. Well, 216 is on James Bond's car tag, because 216 is 6 times 6 times 6. But notice 17 years, 7 days, which is your 177 code, or the time between one eclipse to the next. You have the 53 beginning the seconds, the 89 beginning the minutes, 888 in the weeks. That's pretty crazy. No Time to Die. If we start running that date, we do get our 753 on Halloween. The clocks that began Back to the Future all had 753 on them. That would be him going down on the 30th, the Donnie Darko date. And then you go start doing the time traveling the next day, or he goes down on Halloween, rise on the 2nd. I don't know. The Day of the Dead celebration. How many days does the Day of the Dead celebration last? It's 3 days, October 31st and November 2nd. So he would go down, Spectre opened with Day of the Dead. In this particular case, he would go down on October 31st and rise on November 2nd. He would be going down with a Gemini moon. He would be rising on the Cancer moon. Cancer zodiac sign is the moon. So it's something to look at, isn't it? We go back to the layer cake dates. All I had to do was hit that button, didn't I? Goofball. When the movie Layer Cake came out, he goes down on the 31st. It's a perfect 69 days. How funny is that? 19 years, 30 days. The rising on November 2nd puts him at 19 years, 1 month, 1 day, which is 9/11 heavily coded. Heavily coded. From the movie Layer Cake, where Daniel Craig gets shot and killed. That's a big deal. There's a ton of tells for him going down on Halloween, which is Nick Saban's birthday, the head coach of Alabama. Layer Cake to 11/17 is loaded. It is 6986. It is 9/11 and 116, which is 9/11 flipped backwards and upside down, which is what they had in Back to the Future. It is 69. It has a 98 in the middle, 6986. But it has him being 86th on 11/17. And then if you run it to the 19th, the rising day, it's 6988. Again, 9/11 is coded 19 years, 1 month, 18 days. So it's 9/11 that way, fused with 18, which is 6 plus 6 plus 6, along with 118. The 11-8 code is big. That was this past total solar eclipse. It was an election day. And we had full moons last year on August 11th and November 8th, both 8 times 11, 88. Big, isn't it? Gemini moon equals Kurt Cobain, 108.00 days, even on October 30th. So Kurt Cobain's death, if Trump were to go down on Halloween, which is a till Tuesday, Kurt Cobain's more than likely, we would assume, fake death. They all go somewhere. They all go to an island. There are islands, there are land masses that are not mapped out, or planes don't fly over. Or if they did, jets way down there, they don't tell you what that is or where that is. It's 10801. So it's a perfect 10801. It's the same number going backwards and forwards. That's interesting. Kurt Cobain, birth to October 30th. Now remember, October 30th is a big day. That's when Donnie Darko went down. 20706, so it's heavy atom code, all that kind of stuff. 207, remember, is 119 Donald plus 88 Trump. 207 is another way to say Donald Trump. And it was my apartment number when I lived, the last time I lived here in Winter Haven. 207J. (711) fused with 116 with Kurt Cobain's life to his death. So it's 711 coded with 116. 116 is upside down and backwards 911. Wow. Angelina Jolie. She also equals Gemini moon in Gematria. November 7th, Virgo moon, it says. Angelina Jolie to the rising day is 17688. 68, it's 176 is in there. 76 is there for Adam. Remember, he's the black Adam. 68 is reversing of 86, and of course the 88. Basically, it's his rising day. 688 means 68 is a reversal of 86, and 88 is in his name. And remember, you see this 176 followed by the 88 days that Angelina Jolie would be on 11/7. See that, right? 17688. Well, 88 plus 88 is 176. Remember that midpoint of the two total lunars and two total solars, it was 251 in both directions of total solars and 88 in both directions of both total lunars on the day series the dog star rose of August 12th. 2022. Let's look at that date. Works for me. Sure does. It works just fine for me. Yes, it does. Not going to get into why, but it sure does. Murder codes of 83 and 38 on Gemini moon of October 30th. LeBron James. Murder code 34 begins the hours. Number 23 equals the year 2023. He's 14183 in the days, 38 in the years. Yeah. If you run it to our 11/7 date, $38,108, 4668. Well, you got the 68 code. So the day of the event at Gaylord Palms, if that's where it goes down, LeBron is 14,188 days old. That Gaylord Palms trip is a big deal. Now going to be in Texas November 2nd. So he'll be in Houston, Texas, November 2nd, then coming to Orlando at the Gaylord Palms. Wednesday, November 8th, which is 88. He's in Hialeah, Florida. That is Miami. So you have to be very careful of the 305 there. That's a big deal. So those are the only rallies. Here's your full video if you want to watch Trump speaking yesterday, it says. I don't know where it comes up, but it's this full video. Maybe it takes a while to load. So it's loading. I have no idea. Full video, Trump speaks. Is this it? Trump. So it's 34 minutes, 37 seconds off of Rumble. So you can watch him speak anytime you want. Transfer portal 2023, 88 days to both eclipses. That's insane. And it's not 88 days, we found out. It was 88 and then 89, remember? From the transfer portal. Yeah, because it says April 8th, 2023. The eclipse isn't till, yeah, you actually have to do it from 2024 and you add 89 days and it lands on April 8th's eclipse. And then if you go backwards from Janus Tenet 2024, if you go backwards 88 days, you land on the Ring of Fire eclipse because it's 177 days, so it's 88 plus 89. Oh boy. I can't tell y'all what that 177 means. It's just too bizarre. But it's all about the 88 and the 89 also. If you've been with me long enough, then you know the deal. So I started looking at when I'm 22022, 22122, 22322, 22422 days old, because the Alec Baldwin event took place when I was 22022 days old. And this total solar that makes the X across America is when I'm 22922 days old. But let's hit this button and see what we're trying to figure out. $8.17. Okay, I get it. I know what that's about. That's when I turned 22322 days old. Okay. Then I'm 444, which is the number for the church when you start using prime numbers to his 11-4 rally. Okay, fascinating. Love it. Rising to Abomination of Desolation Day, theoretically, if it's on 4-8. This is assuming he rises on that Sagittarius Sun Gemini full moon to the Abomination of Desolation Day. It is the perfect 13-3, 133 days, or the Bible verse Revelation 13:3. So the way that bounces off, it could be him going down or rising on either him going down 11/25, rising on 11/27, or him going down on April 6th, rising on April 8th. I was born at 1046, which is to say, it is 1 over April 6th, 4/6. 2096 N64 FSU 2019 to FSU 2023. That was the game where I missed because of the flu. Now, him going down at the Florida State game, not at the Florida State game, but on the day of the Florida State game, it's also the day of Alabama Auburn, known as the Iron Bowl, the iron mixing with clay. You see, I had the flu and went right into the hospital while patient 0 was taking place on December 1st. I actually got out of the hospital on Sunday, December 1st of 2019. And that was, so I had the flu when that whole thing began. How funny is that? It was very famous when I went in the hospital because it was all over. I put it all over Facebook, everything. So I'll be able to show you all that. Zechariah equals 2148. If you times that by 1117 to 2024, $777 80808. I don't know what all that means. Zechariah. All these words of the Bible are numbered. So Zechariah is 2148, which of course is 148 Trump. If you times it by 1117, and then times it by or 2. I don't know what I did to get that number. I really don't. So whatever. That's what happens when you don't take good notes. Yeah, I'll really be looking at the day after Groundhog Day as a high watch date. when the time comes. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. 18262 anomaly of the 117 article. Insane. Yeah, I'm not even going to get into that. Super Bowl 58 comes to full moon of January 25th. Okay. So Super Bowl 58 in Gematria. Super Bowl 58. It does come to January 25th, which is the full moon. I think it's on the second page, if I'm not mistaken. If I can't find it quickly, I will pause. So January 28 comes up for starters, but then so does January. There it is right there. January 25th. That is the full moon, which means that's your Super Bowl 58. And we found out what that 58 came to. It was biblical. I can't remember what it was, but it ended up being something biblical in a word in the Bible, but I can't remember what it was. Anyway, that's the end of the prep. That's plenty for us to chew on. I don't know that anybody really watches these videos other than maybe a few. So total solar flower full moon to dates, interesting times. Wow, those seconds numbers are amazing. Yes, Trump said it. In their world, somebody had to do it. It's all scripted for Trump to become the Antichrist. That script is in place. But do they choose another one with another script? The body of work on trumpets is deep and voluminous. Your work proves that. Well, thank you. Really appreciate it, Andrew. Layer cake. This stuff is so layered. That's why that movie was called Layer Cake. There are so many layers to peeling this onion, which was why that movie that Daniel Craig did was called The Glass Onion. Yeah. But anyway, all right, love y'all.